This is the National Park Service Community Briefing, Officer-Involved Shooting, Body-Worn Camera Recording for Yellowstone National Park, Canyon Village, on Thursday, July 4th, 2024, at 8:05 a.m. This briefing is intended to provide the public with information about an officer-involved shooting that occurred in Yellowstone National Park on Thursday, July 4th, 2024. You are about to view relevant recordings from the involved officers' body-worn cameras to gain a better understanding of what transpired. We are committed to upholding our responsibilities around trust and transparency with the American public. Releasing body-worn camera footage from critical incidents is one way in which the National Park Service ensures transparency with the communities we serve. This incident is still under investigation, and all statements in this briefing are based on the details currently available. As the investigation progresses, additional information may emerge that could change our understanding of the incident. Portions of the audio and video have been concealed to protect privacy. The National Park Service employs more than 1,200 federal law enforcement officers who work to protect people and parks. Their duties include enforcing federal, state, and local laws in and associated with National Park Service property, responding to emergencies, assisting visitors, and protecting natural and cultural resources. NPS law enforcement officers and United States Park Police officers are equipped with body-worn cameras. We use body-worn cameras to foster public trust, enhance transparency, and ensure public safety by providing an accurate record of law enforcement encounters. Positioned on an officer's torso, body-worn cameras do not capture everything the officer sees or hears. The field of view can be obstructed by the movements of the officer or others nearby. Note that the initial seconds of the footage may lack audio. Yellowstone National Park, established in 1872 as the first national park in the world, spans 3,500 square miles and extends across the states of Wyoming, Montana, and Idaho. Canyon Village is located in the central part of Yellowstone National Park. It provides accommodations, dining options, and visitor services, including the Canyon Visitor Education Center. Like other national parks across the country, Yellowstone partners with third-party companies known as concessioners to provide services to NPS visitors. Concessioners hire their own employees who are not NPS employees. Xanterra Parks and Resorts is a private concessioner authorized to operate campgrounds, lodging, food and beverage, retail, and other services in Yellowstone National Park. Just after midnight on July 4th, the Yellowstone Interagency Communication Center received a report that a concession employee had been unwillingly held by an individual for several hours on the late evening of July 3rd. The individual, later identified by NPS law enforcement officers as Samson Lucas Bariah Fussner, also a concession employee, allegedly came to the employee's residence in Canyon Village armed with a knife and handgun. The report also indicated that Fussner threatened to kill the employee and target the employee dining room in Canyon Village the following day. The employee dining room, or EDR, is the primary food and beverage location for Canyon-based employees of Xanterra Parks and Resorts. After Fussner left, the employee moved to a secure location and sought help. The following audio is from a 911 call to Yellowstone Interagency Communication Center made by a Xanterra security guard. Fussner and the concession employee were both employed by Xanterra.
911 emergency. What is your exact location?
Hey, the incident is going to be at
Canyon Lodge in the Grizzly downstairs bathroom. This is security from Canyon.
So you're at the Grizzly?
I'm on my way to Grizzly dorm right now.
Okay, and what are you calling? So, yeah, Grizzly dorm?
Correct.
And what are you calling to report?
A female employee is with some other people in the female bathroom downstairs. She said a guy is threatening to kill her and shoot up the EDR tomorrow.
NPS law enforcement officers responded immediately to the Xanterra employee dorms and searched the surrounding area for Fussner. The employee told officers that Fussner planned to carry out mass shootings at the EDR and July 4th events outside of the park. Yellowstone Interagency Communication Center notified law enforcement agencies from surrounding jurisdictions. With Fussner at large, officers were strategically deployed to protect areas frequented by park visitors and concession employees. By the early hours of July 4th, over 20 NPS law enforcement officers, including the Yellowstone Grand Teton Special Response Team, began searching for the suspect in and around Canyon Village, including the area around the employee dining room. The crisis negotiation team from Yellowstone Grand Teton was activated, and an NPS victim advocate was requested to assist. While searching for Fussner, NPS law enforcement officers located Fussner's unoccupied and unlocked vehicle in the main Canyon Village parking lot. Officers found an unsecured handgun near the center console and driver's seat in plain view. At 8:05 a.m., Fussner emerged from the woods with a semi-automatic rifle and encountered an NPS law enforcement officer near the Canyon Lodge. Fussner fired at officer number 3. Note, officers number 1 through number 3 are numbered in the order that they fired at Fussner. After shooting at officer number 3, Fussner moved directly towards the loading dock, firing through the doorway into the hall at officer number 1. Officer number 1 returned fire and was shot by Fussner during this exchange. Officer number 2 could not return fire due to officer 2's position in the hall. The photograph on the left is officer number 1's approximate view of the loading dock when Fussner shot officer number 1. Investigators documented multiple entry and exit holes from gunfire. The photograph on the right is damage to the interior wall behind officer number 1's location. Many bullets penetrated consecutive walls of the building when Fussner fired at officer number 1. The body-worn camera recordings in this community briefing video are from 3 NPS law enforcement officers. Note, NPS policy reads in part, all personnel on scene shall activate their body-worn cameras prior to contact with individuals, except when faced with an emergency situation requiring immediate action to preserve life or safety. Officers number 1 through number 3 are numbered in the order that they fired at Fussner. Officer number 4 and number 5 did not fire their rifles. Officer number 1, who was shot by Fussner, did not activate the officer's body-worn camera during the entire shooting. Officer number 2 did not activate the officer's body-worn camera until after the shooting, though it did capture officer number 2 firing at Fussner. Officer number 3 did not activate the officer's body-worn camera until after the shooting, though it did not capture officer number 3 firing at Fussner. Officer number 4 did not activate the officer's body-worn camera until after the shooting. Officer number 5 activated the officer's body-worn camera during the shooting and ran towards the sound of gunfire. The following video is from officer number 2. You will see officer number 2 move from the hall inside Canyon Lodge into the garage bay before encountering Fussner for the second time. As Fussner moves towards the open garage door, still armed with the semi-automatic rifle, officer number 2 fires at Fussner. A word of caution. These videos of an officer-involved shooting contain graphic content and strong language. Viewer discretion is advised.
Are you good? Okay. Is he on the ground? Hey, go upstairs. Move. You go. Go.
The next slide shows the same video, slowed down to allow the viewer to clearly see officer number 2 encountering Fussner. Officer number 2 is firing a semi-automatic rifle. Fussner is armed with a semi-automatic rifle. In the video footage before officer number 2 activates the body-worn camera, officer number 3 rounds the corner of the building and fires at Fussner. Fussner falls to the ground. The following video is from officer number 2. You will see officer number 2 move back through the canyon lodge and exit onto the loading dock. The video shows Fussner now on the ground.
Information back at the EDR. What do we got? I need one EMS. He's been hit in the one EMS.
The following video is from officer number 4. You will see officer number 4 move from a location and remove the semi-automatic rifle from Fussner. Officer number 2 provides cover from behind a dumpster at the loading dock. Officer number 4 then searches for officer number 1 to check on the officer's injuries. The audio begins when officer number 4 activates the body-worn camera.
Secure the firearm. Hey! Cover! Cover! Here. Hey, inside! Yeah. Firearms right here. I'm gonna go to. Hey! Go to. Yes! Firearms right behind you. You in there? With you! Where is? Yep, we're good. All right. All right. All right.
The next slide shows the same video slowed down to allow the viewer to clearly see the semi-automatic rifle found on Fussner. Officer number 4 secures Fussner's firearm. Officers later found multiple magazines for the semi-automatic rifle near Fussner. A semi-automatic pistol was also found on Fussner.
Hey! Cover! Cover!
The following video is from officer number 5 running towards the sound of gunfire located near the loading dock of the Canyon Lodge. The gunfire is from an encounter between Fussner and NPS law enforcement officers. Officer number 5 arrives after Fussner had been shot and was on the ground.
Get back in your door! Tell everyone! Stay in the door! Stay down! Stay down! Get down!
Officer number 1 sustained a gunshot wound to a lower extremity and was promptly transported to a medical facility for treatment. At the scene, responding officers and emergency medical personnel promptly provided medical assistance to Fussner. Despite these efforts, Fussner was subsequently pronounced deceased by a physician. The Yellowstone Grand Teton Special Response Team and additional NPS law enforcement officers executed a thorough room-by-room clearance of Canyon Lodge to ensure no further threats were present and no one else was injured. It is noteworthy that despite a minimum of 200 visitors and employees in the Canyon Lodge area at the time of the incident, no additional individuals sustained physical injuries. The investigation into this incident, which includes the actions taken by NPS law enforcement officers, is being led by the Federal Bureau of Investigation with assistance from NPS special agents from the Investigative Services Branch. Once the investigation is complete, the results will be forwarded to the United States Attorney's Office, District of Wyoming, for review. Per standard practice, an administrative investigation in this matter is ongoing by the National Park Service Office of Professional Responsibility, which is the NPS internal affairs body.